Okay.
What is happening, crew? Welcome back to the channel with Alan and the B-Man. We got a good one here for you guys. We're going to discuss RippleNet and the difference between that and the Swift system. For people like me who are just starting to take a bite of this big enchilada, it's been so beneficial to have the people that we've had in our community and my dad to walking me through it, and I'm so excited to learn about it. We got a great chart we're going off of.
Yep.
How you doing, Dad?
I'm doing great. It's a Sunday midday, just a chill day. Been barbecuing all day, and it's a good time to catch up with the crew and haven't done one of these. And just to catch everybody up on this is how Brent and I started this channel. Was he and I side by side almost 2 years ago now. This channel's September will be 2 years, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we're getting back to that. We're going to do a bunch of deep dives, if you will, on what we're doing here with telling the whole banking picture, from the governments to the banks to the cabal, if you will, or whatever you like to call them, the people and the players and the movement and what's going on, and how that affects Ripple Labs and how that affects you as a XRP holder or XLM, XDC. And it's going to be a series, right? We're going to do a bunch of these, right, Brent? Are you on board for all these?
I'm on board.
All right. Yeah.
I want to know it. I want to learn it. I want to research it. I want to be a part of growing this thing with you guys. And the first question I have for you, Dad, is that, to me, and I think to you too, you brought it up to me, was like on-demand liquidity and what that can mean for all of us on the bottom floor as business people using this tool.
Yes.
And doing this in the future. What do you think about that change of us using the Swift system to now having this option of on-demand liquidity, and us being able to not potentially have these intermediaries between us?
Well, it could really be huge, right? I mean, it could mean so much to the little man as much as big banking. I know that XRP is really kind of known as the banker's coin, and more of the inner workings of bank-to-bank transfers. But it really it applies to XLM as well, which will be smaller retail as well. But if you're looking to get a loan from a bank, that on-demand liquidity is going to be a game changer for all small business. Gone, we hope, are going to be the days of you have to put your mom's house up for lien or loan to take out money. That on-demand liquidity is going to be instant, and we're going to be able to not have to pay the middleman as much. We're not going to have the requirements behind you. You're going to have a smart contract. That's kind of down the road on this our conversation here, but there'll be a smart contract that you're going to have to uphold. You're going to have to say, hey, these are my requirements for you to receive the next allotment of money. But that money isn't going to be taken from somebody's pocket. It's going to be on the cloud, if you will, waiting for someone to use it whenever needed. And this is going to be revolutionary, guys, in the way it's going to explode business opportunity for everybody from the bottom up, really. And that's what I'm excited about. So when I hear people tell me all the time, oh, wow, the control and the system and the people are taking control of our lives through banking with Ripple and XRP, I really want you guys to listen to this video closely, because I believe it's quite the opposite in so many ways.
Yeah,
so
me too.
That's just a touching over the top of ODL. But yeah,
us being able to turn our lenses the other direction and be like, okay, I'm the bank, I'm the business, this is what I need to get done. and now I have the ability to access it.
Right.
And
That's right.
What could be bigger?
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
I love it.
And gone will be the days of waiting 2 and 3 days to find out whether or not you get a loan or any of those kind of things are going to be, it'll be almost instant in the future. And just stop and think about what all that liquidity on demand can do for business. We keep getting slowed down by, if you've got a great idea or a business concept and you have the people behind you, the physical work and or the machines to do it, and you can't get the loans to make commerce stops dead in its tracks. That's really going to be a game changer for business going forward. Payroll, everything. I mean, just everything you can imagine.
Nice.
Business.
Hopefully get over the days of worry. Go trustless, baby. Let's go trustless. Let's start it out, Dad. Let's talk about XRPL. Let's talk about XRP Labs and walk down this road for us of the interconnectivity and functions of this system that they've, like you were saying, they've been building for over a decade.
Yeah. Well, in a nutshell, what they've done is they've created a system, okay, in which it connects all banks together, or all the complying banks, okay, with all the ISO 222, all of that regulation and conformation, that everybody's going to be all interlinked, if you will, and they'll all have the same rules and understanding of how we're going to use this on-demand liquidity, and everybody will be on the same page. And what that does, what their Ripple Labs does more than anything else, is eliminate the need for SWIFT. And as I've talked about on the show before, SWIFT has its limitations. I think it's over 50 years old, right? So in SWIFT, people have a lot of misconceptions about what SWIFT is. SWIFT is not a money wiring system. You still have to wire the money. You still have to wire it from here to Switzerland, right? But if you so when we get rid of that, okay, let me explain. It's just this bank can communicate with that bank. That's all SWIFT does. They don't move any money. They just say, you have our blessing to do business with these people. And if you don't have that SWIFT blessing, you can't do commerce with other banks outside of SWIFT. Now, another misconception was people had an idea that SWIFT was all banks. No, there was so many banks that weren't ever in the SWIFT system, and nations. So what Ripple Labs came along and did is they enabled a network of being able to communicate with everybody, working with many other players. There's so many players involved here, R3 and Corda. And these people have created a communication network enabling everybody to work together. And with the XRP coin, and that becoming the monetary system between these connections, and then turning it into a ruble on the other side, or a dollar from this side, whichever your denomination, it's an XRP in between. That gives them that on-demand liquidity whenever they need it, okay? And this whole network that they've created has been in place. Well, they're building this thing daily. There's news all around the world every week that I try to follow as much as I can. There's so much information of how many nations have already gotten involved. So, that's an overview. I know that's kind of broad, but kind of vague.
No, I love it. So SWIFT essentially, the middleman giving you permission.
Correct. That's it. And when the whole Ukraine war broke out, that's basically all they did is shut off the communication between Russia and all the other banking systems through SWIFT. Now that brings up China and the BRICS nations created basically a new SWIFT system, which is SIPS, and that is better. It's more updated, and but it's still not what Ripple Labs is going or is already designed, and so much easier and so much more fluid than everybody else is using.
Mm-hmm.
So,
gotcha.
Future is bright for it for sure. What else you got?
You've started hitting on it with ISO 222 and discussing Corda. I'm really interested in that end of it, Dad, where you put the smart contracts and you put the regulation in the code and in the language, and so I guess giving us a little explanation of how that's kind of in the blockchain world and in the decentralized ledger world, how we're going to be, how the approval process goes, how you're not getting these people who don't have the backing to be able to take these loans and things like that. Like, I guess trying to understand, like, having the access to it, you've got to put up collateral still, correct? You've got to own a certain amount of the tokens to kind of transition and take out the loans on the system. Like, I guess what's the starting process? If I'm going to go start doing this, if I'm going to go take a loan.
A lot of that is yet to be determined for small business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for us. We live in the US, for us, because we don't have a system that actually uses it today, that we can't run down to the store and do our remittance with it. There are a couple of avenues that you could use to do that going around, but because of the SEC and the case in which we're in the middle of right now, all those avenues have really been shut down for us. In fact, the only place you can really even buy XRP right now is Uphold, and they're out of the UK. I think KuCoin you can. I think KuCoin just shut it off. I think, but
I'll look into that and post it.
Yeah, you're going to need the coin, obviously, to make the transactions and make the system work. And the coin is going to be important in the future, but where they're at right now is above that ground level still. And what they're trying to do is get it, every man, common man, be able to use this. And I think we've talked about this before, but that's really going to be your XLM. It's going to be more of the small business and day-to-day Starbucks copy stuff. It's going to be more about XLM. But I think your question is, how do I go and get a loan from somebody and it be through XRP? Well, that's going to have to be like Brazil's already got a banking system where that's connected to. You can go and, because of companies that, like you were mentioning, Corda and R3, those people have linked systems together. Okay. Corda is not a crypto coin. It's a company who looks for other people who need blockchain systems and secure banking systems. And they figure out, okay, this little town in Africa or Idaho or wherever is going to need liquidity in a market. So they say, well, what we have many products in which to offer you, but one of the ones that we really like, and they're ISO 222 compliant, would be this one, and that would be, or XRP if they're more of a banking or an institution. And if it were smaller, they would use something like XLM. If you're just a small farm or somebody like that, they'd probably be able to loan you easier that way. But that's what Port is going around doing, is linking everybody together around the planet and doing kind of the legwork, if you will, for Ripple Labs in that sense. Yeah. It's not the only product they carry. You know, if you need a blockchain that needs more of an accounting and
Mhm.
more of an advertising, you wouldn't necessarily use Ripple Labs. You would use a different blockchain or company entirely.
Gotcha.
Hope that made sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know,
Yeah. I just started thinking about that and it was like, okay, the use case.
yeah,
It always comes back to me, right, Dad? It's like, okay, well, how are we gonna get going on it? How are we gonna use it? And yeah, like you said, here in the United States, we're still miles out.
yeah,
But to see how this is working, and you and I understand it's about how it's working globally, and it's
it
the,
is.
the way they're throwing this together and doing it is brilliant.
And
Um,
this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. We're going to go really deep dive on this thing, and we have, like I said in the beginning of the show, banking institutions, nations, and everything else. And this is going to be a series. This is really just from the 40,000 feet looking down, big picture, day one, if you will. Yeah.
talk to us about the banks, Dad. Um, their connectivity and how like my local bank, or the banks that I guess get involved, which we're looking at a list of 20 or so here. You're telling me it's much more than that.
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
so they're already on board,
Yeah.
and
Yes. They're not
and
only on board.
we're ISO has not gone live yet, right? So we're still
That's
we're
correct. They keep pushing it back. I'm not completely up to date on that, but I know they keep
Mhm.
pushing it back. And the last I heard was 2025. I don't think it's going to be that long. I really don't. It's supposed to happen this spring, but it keeps getting pushed back. And I, I don't. I think the connectivity of these banks is already there. They already want to be connected. This is the world we live in. So they're looking for the easiest way to do that. And there's many
Mhm.
other systems out there, and for some reason they keep slowing Ripple down. And that's a whole nother show as to why they're
Yeah.
doing that, because they're allowing the Lightning Network to just explode, and nobody seems to be slowing it down whatsoever. And it seems to be very global, and everybody seems very interested in allowing it to just take over the world. Where I really believe that um, Ripple's technology is better. I mean, XRP is just a better coin when you want to talk about movement, uh, ease of use, cheaper for the endline user. Uh, it's already got its own wallet system, which uh, some is the one of the wallets that everybody can use for XRP, but that's
Yeah.
XUMM, yeah, wallet. Yeah, that's a really good start, But
Hmm.
the smart contracts are really going to be important, and unfortunately, that's kind of where they're a little weak, if you will. They haven't really taken that next big step. They are right now, and they're going to crush it as they do with every other technology. And I know they're going to be really good at it. But that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. When you're a small bank or a small farmer and you need to go to a local bank, where you're not going to need to go to a local bank as much anymore. You're going to be able to go to a person who actually can provide the liquidity to you, and that's going to be, I'm hoping, peer to peer one day, and we can get a
Yes.
group of us together
Yes.
and say, yeah, I like the idea of a water plant in your backyard, and we should filter water and produce water and for the community, and we can all supplement that and fund it ourselves in a decentralized manner. And I think that's the future of where all of this is going. And it could be
Yeah.
huge. Yeah,
And that it's the future is us, right?
that's
It's
it.
you know
Yeah,
we talk about it a lot now.
we do.
Building this community here. I talked to one of our good friends this morning on his channel, and just the information sharing, understanding how we're going to use it, and being able to use it for ourselves together.
That's right.
And when you go to those seminars, when you're around people who want to do this and what we want the world to look like, it's like it starts with us, and it starts with us doing it in this community. And when the day comes where we know those people, and we're connected to those people, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
And it'll be common. It'll be so behind the scenes, you're not going to really know what you're using. It's going to be, everybody's going to use it. And you're not going to be, oh, I used XRP yesterday. It's like, well, you won't even really know.
Yeah. It was just involved.
If it goes really well and really smooth, like I believe it will, you're not even going to know you're using
it. Proof of payment transactions, Dad.
This is going to be where the old system has failed us. Okay. Within every transaction, okay, you now need a contract, or if you're going to do business with somebody else, you almost have to insure the deal, right? Especially if you're a business or something like that. Now, with the deal, the exchange of the coins is the contract. It is the contract. There is no way in or out of it. You've done it. It's a done deal. I have to tell this story. I think it was a senator on the East Coast. It was almost laughable. What he was proposing a bill that said basically we need to be able to stop smart contracts and the exchange of Bitcoin and reverse them, was a bill he was proposing. I mean, the absurdity of it is just like, you don't even understand.
What?
That's impossible.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy, but you already pushed play, and should have thought of that earlier.
This train's real big, and it's going real fast, dude.
Yeah, it's like, good luck. How are you going to go back to the blockchain and like change it? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're going to change it in your country, and it's going to be live everywhere else, and you're going to look really stupid to us really fast.
And we understand that you deal in fraud and change and lies and ignorance, but on the blockchain, we can't get away with that sort of stuff. You have to be sure about what you're saying when you do it. Yeah. So in those transactions, all of those transactions are going to be, again, they're going to be in the background. You're not going to know they're happening. You're just going to know it's done. Okay. Because that was the beauty of Bitcoin for me. That was one of the things I really understood. Once I understood that, it was like, Bitcoin transaction is final, done. You have a contract. There's not maybe. There's not. That was our big problem in banking for thousands of years. Is I give the example of the carpenter and the farmer said, no, I said I would give you 10 bushels of corn for a chair that you made me, or whatever. And he said, no, it was 12. No, we agreed on 10. And that's when banks came into existence. Well, now with blockchain and with tech, like what Ripple's done, is we have, that's in the contract, is within it. The finalization of a transaction is complete, done, finished, in the sense that there's no going back and telling a different story. The deal is the contract.
Yep. See,
I know
inputs and outputs.
That, yeah. So
done deal.
Yeah, it's a different world we're going to go into, and it's going to allow us more freedom, more time to think, more time to do what you want to do, because all of that nonsense about arguing over, was it 2 bushel, the 2 bushel difference, and we never settled that, because banks have basically come along and told us, oh, no, well, you have to pay us for that now, and now you have to pay us more and more and more, and then they're not even playing a good escrow in the middle of the two of us, because they don't have any money either. They don't have the corn. They don't have the corn or the chair. They have these digits that are like not the chicken
No,
or the chick.
funny money.
Funny money out of nowhere with absolutely no backing behind it and no digital scarcity either. Which is huge.
Yeah. Oh, and maximum leverage or license to kill, as I would like to say.
Yeah.
That's
License to print.
yeah, license to spill.
Okay, what else you got?
So going back to the messaging and the communication system itself. So from Swift, you're just looking for the approval. Where in the wheel are the messages being sent and the transactions being finalized? Would you say, like, in this system, Dad? Like, I know that's a little broad.
Yeah.
I pose that to be a little broad, but like
it depends. If you're going to have your own wallet, most of it's going to transact with wallets. That's where our future is. That's where your own personal data is going to be. That's where everything's going to be. And we're going to have those. Should have had them already, to be honest. If we had nation governments that actually cared about where the people's lives were and where we're going, and promoted this technology and really adopted it and allowed us to prosper with it and helped mankind with it, we would already have private wallets, personal private wallets, and you'd be able. Done would be the days of having passwords and all that crap online. It's just ridiculous that we still, like, we have logs of passwords now. There's just, it's just, and voting and all the rest of that. So I don't think I answered the question, but
no, you got into it. It feels like that kind of divided time and attention, that inefficiency that we all have, and I think that's part of the learning curve of all this. When you're learning about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency and its use cases and functions coming down the road, you're stuck on, well, I got to learn all this stuff and I got to get approvals and I got to have passwords and all this. And what's so neat about following all of it and being a part of all of it is, like, all these companies trying to make it more efficient.
Yeah.
And you just said it a minute ago. It's like, if we can narrow that time out, we're all going to have more time.
Yes.
If we can get the ledger running and your transaction is done and complete on the ledger, that's input output, that's done. That shake's been blended. So that's, I don't have to worry about fraud in a sense of, it's like Brent had as much Bitcoin as he said he was going to give to Alan. He gave it to Alan. It's done.
Yeah.
That's the contract. It's done.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, but it's like, we're not used to that. We're used to all these technical, complicated systems and tools and things that we can bid on and bet on and purchase and taxation.
We're not used to the level of security and honesty and that it's going to bring to the world. And I really believe that's why the system is fighting it, because they can't tell a big story, I mean, it's going to be a little scary when you got your own private wallet and you're drunk dialing. That's not going to go well. Because you're not going to be able to the next day go, well, that wasn't me. I didn't. It's going to be on the blockchain, and that was you, and you're paying for it. And that's how it goes. Yeah. So fraud will be a whole lot harder. It's amazing to me when I hear, Mrs. Warren or whatever we want to call her. There's a couple of Indian names that come to mind, but but she's like, oh yeah, well, only the fraudsters and only, people, please, money laundering. And it's like, whatever. She's either really not very sharp or she's bought, one or the other.
Yeah. Or she's hiding it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hiding it.
Well, if you look at their campaign contributors, it's all Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and it's pretty obvious, really, isn't it? So what's going on there?
Yeah. And it makes sense when you put yourself in those shoes and you're getting paid, and
Yeah,
they can still turn a profit on the old school.
yeah,
You're gonna keep trying to you're gonna try to keep milking that cow.
yeah. You will. Yeah,
That's human nature.
it's
And it's gonna take people like us who are motivated, and you know we've never had a ton of money, Dad. And
no.
it's like, we just like that, the things that offer it, the time,
Yeah, yeah.
the freedom, the getting back into that mentality, is why this is also fun to me.
It
It's
it's
exciting.
it's strange to me too, because like, knowing what you and I know about sound money, and probably everybody watching this channel know about sound money, is
Hmm.
okay. They've essentially not had to account for anything they've done since 1971 in the US, which is the global currency. So they've printed hundreds of trillions of dollars from nothing with no accountability. And then when you look around at what they bought with it, like, really? That's what we got for it? Are you kidding me? What do we have to
Yeah.
show for all that ridiculous drunken spending? Nothing.
Potholes. Yeah.
We have nothing to show for it. And
The
we have
lap.
this
Yeah.
giant military industrial complex that's like, nobody even knows where it is, what it does, or it's like weird. It's like this big black hole that all this money goes into, instead of, better roads or better technology or more honest system or better food and more food and water around the world and electricity to everyone and all of that. They did something else with it all. And it's absurd. It really is. I don't even understand how they sleep at night, for number one, but I think there's going to be, in your lifetime, there's going to be a reckoning of people that go, wait a minute, what did you do with all of that? And
Yeah.
that's,
And
I don't
the
want
and
to
the
be them.
hope
Yeah,
for a more decentralized world where those funds are allocated the way we all see fit,
right,
rather than
right.
the printing and disappearance into the black hole. There's no accountability,
No,
and there's how can and then there's no trust, and then
yeah,
you've got no relationship.
yeah,
And that's what human beings have with their governments now all over the world. Essentially, there's no,
yeah.
how could there be a relationship, when you
The,
when you
the,
got when you got what 300 million kids running around in our
yeah.
country. Do you know where your kid is right now? No, you do not.
No.
You
And
what's their name
like,
again?
the first stimmy check, right, that
Hmm.
they divvied out, like 80% of it, I want to say like 25% of it went to Boeing.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember
what?
that. I remember
Wait a
that.
minute, Boeing? Oh, that's right. They're the guys who paid for all the campaign contribution. Now I got it. Right. Okay.
And don't quote me, but I feel like right around then they were in some trouble. They were in some financial hardship times. I mean, the whole
Yeah,
airline,
because
all airlines
the
probably, but
CEO of the company knew they had a flawed plane and they released it anyway, and people were dying.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
she
that's
got her full compensation package on the way out the door. Like,
how does
she
that
literally
happen,
killed
you guys?
people.
How does that happen? And just
Right.
like
And then they got
zero
the stimmy
accountability,
bill. Yeah.
zero
They got
accountability.
And then after all that whole shenanigan, they paid no price, and then they got the stimmy bill out. And it was like, what going on up there? It's crazy,
Nothing,
isn't it?
nothing good, nothing
No.
good.
I use this one a lot, but just stop and think about this. The US has been able to buy oil for free for like 60 years. Like they're just printing the digits and they get oil. Like, wait a minute, what?
And
What'd you
then
do with
stop.
all that wealth?
Yeah, and then stop and look at the taxation that's been put on it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, if they cared about the people, the gasoline should be free in the US. If they're just printing the digits, right?
if you
Like,
want to actually, yeah, if you want to actually stimulate the economy, that'd be a really good way to start.
yeah. How did we get off on anyway? I don't know.
Because that's what we do, Dad.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. We're
Squirrel
fixing the world
mentality,
here.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm on this rocker thing here, so I'm not on the boat. So I'm standing on a wheel thing. It's interesting.
nice.
Yeah. I haven't fallen over and hurt myself yet, so I'm good.
Perfect.
So far I'm still standing.
It's working.
Yeah. So let's not make this one too long.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Any final thoughts, Dad? Anything you want to share about RippleNet? What are you excited about coming up as far as the project goes?
As far as the project goes, I really want it to be just let loose of the strings that the SEC have on it currently right now, and I know that's a tired horse, but if somebody could come to their senses and use it the way it was designed to be used, it could free up money. The remittance would save billions of dollars in the bank fraud and bank commissions, and all of that would really, really come to a screeching halt, and that would add so much. It seems crazy to a lot of people that $10 or $20 or something like that a month doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but to the lower half of the world, that's a lot of money every day, and it would improve their lives in a way that I don't think we can even understand, because I don't live in that world, but that world needs its help, and it's being kept from those people, and that's a crime. It's a crime against humanity, and they're just throwing a bunch of money and a bunch of lawyers at it to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's a shame.
That is a shame.
It is. So
I'm with you completely on that. You made me think about it today. It's the ground level, the people that could really stand to have the help, the small business, the creative people, the manufacturers of the world.
That's right.
That actually make the things that we need.
Yeah.
Give a reallocation, a time where we can use tools like this to reallocate money to where we want it to go, which is usually those things, the things that we need.
It is, yeah. And it drives the world, and they've skimmed from it to a ridiculous level now. And now they're defending it at a ridiculous level instead of adopting the technology of what it could do for all mankind. They're fighting it, and I don't even understand what happened to the land of opportunity. That's an opportunity that they are like squelching because they want the commissions from it. They're denying man's technology and future opportunity of prosperity through legal action for their own greed. And it's sad. Sad on a big level. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we could.
It's good chatting and catching up with you.
Good catching up with you. I love you. I love all you guys out there. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Yeah. We're having fun.
This thing's fun.
And we're gonna do a whole series of these. I know I'm gonna mention it for the third time, but we're gonna do a bunch of these, and we will get more technical and it will get deeper. So we're gonna do a bunch of that.
I'm gonna drag it, Dad, into some videos where we just kind of tell stories and share some of our lives with you guys. Just as kind of a fun mix it up kind of thing, so you can get to know us, we can get to know you,
Yeah.
And then like Dad's saying, let's go deep, man. Let's go
Oh
deep
yeah,
here.
we're gonna go deep.
I'm in.
We're going deep.
We're going deep.
And also, if you like this content, we do have a link down below for our Patreon, and we even get deeper back there. So, and there'll be some content in there 3 or 4 times a week. I think we're up to now. So it's good stuff, and you can really look into that. And also, just supporting our Patreon does support this channel as well. So we much appreciate it. And it's growing really fast. And I'm really proud of everything we've done so far.
Yeah,
Okay. So with that, Brent, we are
out.
out.